So I'll give you guys my 2-second story on how I got in, and then my goal is just to help you guys make as much money as possible with sports cards. And I'm going to give you all the lessons that I've learned over the past 7 years. And I've had some tough lessons where I've lost a lot of money. I've lost $30,000 on a card before, and I've made that much on a card before. So I'll tell you guys everything I've learned. So I got into sports cards in 2015. I'm from a town called Wayne, New Jersey. It's 10 miles south of New York City. And the way I got into sports cards was, so in my town, there's 2 high schools. There's the middle class side of town, which I went to, then there's the rich side of town. I had a friend of a friend buy his own car from the other high school, the rich side of town, was with his own money when we were 17 years old with $30,000. We were in high school. And his name was Dylan Whitford. You probably may have seen him on Facebook or Instagram. And I said to him, I didn't really know him at that point. I said to him, dude, how'd you buy your own car with 30 grand? We're 17 years old. And he's like, I buy and sell sports cards. And at that time, remember in 2015, sports cards was not like cool like it is today, right? Like after the pandemic. So I was like, you're talking about the things that like you put in like what? And he's like, I'll show you. So he showed me like buy a card for like $200, get it graded, sell it for more. And I was like, wow, there's no way this world exists. So he taught me some things. And the first card I bought was, if you guys know who he is, he was a Mets pitcher. His name was Steven Matz. He was a lefty pitcher for the New York Mets. I bought his orange Bowman Chrome refractor for $500. And I got it graded and I sold it the next week on eBay as a BGS 9.5 for $888. And it's, it's decent money, but at that time I was delivering pizza. So I was delivering pizza, making not bad money, like 4 hours to make like 60 to 80 bucks cash. And then over here, I sold a card and flipped it for $300 without just working for my computer. And I had this paradigm shift in my head. I was like, holy shit, or holy crap, this is real. So I got really into it throughout college. I ended up using sports cards to pay for college and all that good stuff through my friend Dylan helping me. Shout out to you, Dylan, helped me out a lot. His name on Instagram is DW3Ball. And then basically what happened is I went to Rutgers University, which is a big college in New Jersey. I studied finance. I was in the business school, and I had an internship. By going to my senior year, I was a tax analyst or something like that, and I hated it with a passion, sitting in a cubicle. I quit after 5 days. I said, I gotta make something more. So I tried going to I don't know, have you guys heard of drop shipping and Amazon FBA and these online businesses? So I was like, I gotta do this. I want a big business that can make a lot of money. I want employees, etc. So I found out about all these online businesses like Amazon FBA, drop shipping, all that good stuff. And going into my senior year of college in 2019, I started to get into it, and I bought some courses. I lost some money. And then in December of 2018, the winter break right before my last semester, I got into drop shipping. If you guys don't know what drop shipping is, it's basically where you start an online store and you sell a product for let's say these sandals, you sell them for $30. You buy them for $10 from a supplier in China, you sell them for $30, and the supplier ships it right to the customer, so you never have to touch it. And that's what I got into. It's easier said than done. And got into it, worked my butt off. Eventually I got to be making pretty good money in May, just around the time when I graduated. And I was living life. I thought I was making really good money. And my supplier in China, long story short, ended up screwing me out of a lot of money. He was making the products. He was false advertising. He was saying the product looked one way, but it wasn't. I got slammed with returns after selling over $50,000 worth in these women's apparel and sandals. And I lost all the money I had. So I just graduated. I decided not to get a job because I wanted to do sports cards and do the whole online thing. So I was broke, no job. So I went back to the one thing I knew how to do, which is buy and sell sports cards. I took out a loan from my brother. What I would do is I would tell my brother Brian, shout out to him, I'd be like, hey, give me $8,000. I'm going to go to this card show in San Francisco. I'll give you $8,500 in a week. So I would keep doing that with him, and I made money, got myself back on my feet. I met my business partner. Some of you guys may or may not know who he is. His name's John Suarez. He's my business partner for Major League Profits, the business I run today. And we got into online business together. So first we started a real estate marketing agency, failed, and then we moved to Florida. to like really get serious, and we kept failing multiple businesses. And then one day he said to me on March 12th of 2020, he's like, you know what? I bet people would pay us to learn how to make money with sports cards. And I said to him, that's a dumb idea. I never thought that would work. That's honestly what I said to him. I was like, that's the stupidest idea I've ever heard. But we didn't really have any options. So we set up a simple website, ran some Facebook ads, and we lived in Miami. So I remember this specifically. We launched our ads the day the pandemic started in Miami, which was March 15th, 2020. And it took off like wildfire, long story short, and helped a lot of people make a lot of money with sports cards, and through a lot of ups and downs. Business is still running today. We have like 12 employees, have helped hundreds of people. But the reason I'm sitting here today is to hopefully help you guys make money with sports cards. Number one, this is an amazing statistic. 50% of NFL quarterbacks drafted in the first round are out of the league within 5 years, okay? Why is that important? Because it shows you that scouts who get fed millions and hundreds of millions of dollars to find out who the next big player is going to be, and who have all the resources in the world, if they can't pick who the next big player is going to be, how are you? And how am I? I have no idea who the next big player is going to be. I could tell you, like, I like Justin Herbert. I don't know if he's going to be good. Maybe he's pretty good so far, but I have no idea. So, like, usually what I see people do that come into my program is they will like be like, you know, I think this player is going to be great and that player is going to be great. And the reality of the situation is most players do not perform up to expectations. It's just how sports works. So like if you want to make money in sports cards, investing in players long term never works out. Can you get lucky with guys like Patrick Mahomes? Of course. Like I used to buy, like before Patrick Mahomes' sophomore season, I was buying his like Contenders rookie card for $300, getting it graded, selling it for $600. I thought I was making all this money, and like by week 5, the card's worth $3,000. So like, of course, like you can get lucky sometimes, but most of the time, players don't perform up to expectation. Just how it works, right? So if you want to make consistent money in sports cards, don't do that. And the way you need to make money in sports cards is through grading, right? We all probably have an idea of what grading is, right? Buy a card, get it graded, sell it for more. It's a little bit easier said than done, but grading sports cards is the way, literally, that's how I paid for my college. And it's changed over the years. So like when I used to buy cards to get graded, it was like, there was less money in it, but it was way easier. So I don't know if you guys know who Josh Cade is. He's a bulk submitter. He sends a lot of cards to Beckett for people. But anyways, back in the day, like throughout college, I used to buy cards on eBay for like, let's say I'd buy a card for like $300. I would send it straight to Josh. So I'd put in his shipping address, and he would send it to Beckett on a 1-day service. So it would take 1 day for Beckett to grade the card. It was $25. And if it graded a 9.5, they would charge me the $25. And if it didn't grade a 9.5, they would charge me $8 and not touch the card. So like, it was like, I was just flipping cards like crazy. Now, like, you can't do that anymore. Like, it's more expensive. People are more aware that you can get cards graded. So you have to be a little bit smarter in terms of what you buy. Now, so that's like so the first pitfall people fall into is buying guys and hoping they'll become good, because usually they're not. The second pitfall is not grading. Like, you have to learn how to grade cards. And like going to card shows like this, it's great. It's fun. I do it all the time. But if you want to find cards to buy, get graded, and sell and make consistent money, you have to find this stuff online. Because just think about it logically for a second. If you go to a card show, let's say in like, you know, if you go to the National Card Show in Atlantic City this past year, and these dealers are there to make money, right? These dealers make money from sports cards. They're never going to give you a card that you could get graded and sell, or else they would do it themselves, right? So a lot of this stuff is found online. And now like going back to online, like being able to evaluate the condition of a card online is like a skill. It's like an art. It's like a skill that you get better and better and better at. At first I stunk, and now I'm really good at it. And like that's kind of a big thing I teach my students. Like it's like a skill that just you could do so well with. And the next thing I would say about grading sports cards is one of the biggest mistakes I see my students make is, you know, they'll learn all the right material, they'll buy the right cards, do everything right, but they won't keep up the momentum. So if you want to make money in sports cards, you have to get cards graded. Now, and this is the way you want your business to work. This is the way you want it structured. So like, what you want to do is buy about 3 to 5 cards a week. So let's say you start today and you start buying 3 to 5 cards a week at like, $100, $200 each to get graded and sell. What you want to happen is in about, depending on how fast PSA takes, let's say they take 6 weeks to get back to you. Up front, the first 6 weeks, you're gonna have to lay out a lot of cash because you're gonna keep buying cards and cards are not gonna come back to you. But after about 6 weeks, you have cards coming back to you every single week. So you get them back, you sell them, you buy them, you sell them, you buy them, and you keep up that momentum. And over time, your bankroll just gets bigger and bigger and bigger. And all of a sudden, like in the beginning, you started with $2,000, and now all of a sudden, in 4 months, you have $13,000 and $5,000 in cash and like $8,000 in cards. So like that's the way you want to do it. So you have to become a master at grading, which like in order to teach you guys, I would need like a freaking like PowerPoint presentation, like to show you guys stuff on eBay. But like you have to become a master at grading corners, edges, centering, surface, autographs. Should it go to PSA? Should it go to Beckett? And then the second caveat with grading is so you have to know like how to evaluate the condition of a card. Then the second biggest thing that probably none of you guys thought of, and I didn't think of when I got into sports cards, is timing. So I want you guys to think about this. This is all going to blow your mind, what I'm about to tell all you guys. So think about this for a second. So timing the sports card market. So what happens in sports cards is my students might get pissed off at me for saying this because they pay me for this information, but I'll tell you guys anyways. So what happens in sports cards is leading up to a season, there's hype, right? Like let's take the football season, for example. Like football kicks off on September 10th or whenever, and like leading up to it, like August 30th, September 5th, like there's a lot of hype. And once that season kicks off, the football market starts to go down. And this is I want you guys to think about this for a second. I see the reaction on your face. Yeah. So think about this, right? Think about the football market. Let's take all the quarterbacks. Jalen Hurts, Tua, Mahomes, Allen, Fields, Lawrence, Zach Wilson, Davis Mills, all these guys. So Josh Allen and Patrick Mahomes, they're playing pretty well this year. But they're worth about the same as they were when, like their card values are about the same as they were when the season started. The only player that's up significantly is Jalen Hurts. Look at all the players that are down, right? Zach Wilson, I'm a Jets fan, stinks. Justin Fields, even though he's playing well, he's down. Trevor Lawrence, down. Davis Mills, down a ton. Mac Jones, down, oh my God, down so much. Justin Herbert is down in half. Joe Burrow is down in half. Like Justin Herbert's PSA 10 Contenders rookie card was selling for about $7,000 for the season, and I just bought one in like a bigger bulk deal for $4,000. So it's all down. Why? Why does that happen? One, most players don't perform up to expectation, and number two, what happens when the football season kicks off, there's hype, and then once it kicks off, the market starts to go like this because people are like over it. They're like, oh, it's not as exciting anymore. The season's starting, the players are playing, we realize, Justin Herbert's good, but he's not like the second coming of Jesus. Like, it's all back to normal. So like what happens is the market starts going down like 20 miles an hour. So like a lot of the times you guys have probably seen before, like a player, I've got this all the time, like, you ask yourself like, Patrick Mahomes is playing so well. Why is he not going up in value, right? It's a common question. The reason is because the market is going down at 20 miles an hour and Patrick Mahomes' value is going up 20 miles an hour, so it just evens out, right? So you have to play like extraordinarily well for a player to go up. Like Jalen Hurts is playing out of his mind, or was. Now he's coming back down to earth a little bit. So like that's what you have to be very aware of. So what I tell my students is like a common saying, I guess, in my program, like a common thing I teach is when a season starts, you do not want that type of card on you. So like when basketball starts, when the season tips off, you want no basketball cards on you because most players are going to go like this, right? You could buy back in 3 to 4 weeks when the players have settled down, but you don't want to be stuck in limbo buying, let's say like, I've seen it happen all the time. Like you could buy a card of like a Trevor Lawrence Contenders auto PSA 10 for like, let's say like $800 before the season, or not a PSA 10, like a raw Trevor Lawrence for $800 before the season. And then you get it graded, it grades a 10. And then let's say October 1st, you go to sell it, you barely made any money. The reason is because you bought it at the absolute hype right before the season, and now people have, like, it's come back down to earth and you're barely making any money. So like as a common theme or like a common rule, you don't want any of that sport when this specific sport starts. If that makes sense. Just like I'm sure, yeah, like they all go down. Baseball's the worst of it. Like no one in baseball ever performs up to expectations. It's so rare. Like look at this year, like all the baseball guys. Like Tatis obviously was taking steroids, so he's down. But like Wander Franco down so much. Like this is the greatest example I can give you guys. Then I'll open up the questions. So like Julio Rodriguez, right? Really good, right? He had a great season, right? We could all agree, phenomenal player. Probably better than people expected. He's on a great path. His card is worth the same exact amount it was when the season started. Same exact amount. It did not go up. His blue PSA 10, I know this because I was looking the other day, was about $8,500 before the season started. It's exactly what it is today. So think about that. If you invested in Julio Rodriguez, you think you hit a home run. No, you didn't. You barely made any money, if anything, right? So it's just how the sports car market works. I've been doing it for a long time. All these lessons, all these things I'm telling you guys, it took me a long time to realize I lost a lot of money, making mistakes. But hopefully you guys don't. But that's my short spiel.